But anyway, so it says here the most insane new manga I've read from Sufferance. So let's see what it is.
So excited to talk about these manga today because when I read them instantly, I fell in love with them. Creative, unique, variety, beautiful artistry, very interesting stories. It's been a while since I've come across a set of stories that I feel so closely entangled with, and they're all very new, the most having only 30 chapters. So of course, they have a long way to go, and a lot of things can change, but at this point, I really love what they're doing, and I really love their ideas. So let's talk about them. This manga is called Smother Me. It has 9 chapters, and I did not know what I was getting into. I like to go into all of these stories just completely blind. Maybe I see a snippet of the artwork, but that's it. Let me tell you, I was shocked. I did not expect what I was getting, but in like a really good way. This story is brutal, painfully brutal.
Okay, I see the calendar and I like it, but I think there needs to be a bit of a change. The only thing I would change is like it's super red. It's really, really red. I like it, but it's super, super red. Ooh. This is on Canva, right? Is it possible I can get the link so I can like make a few changes? Can I do that? I don't know. I'll just make a few. It's not anything crazy. It's just like it's super red.
It's very edgy, but purposeful. It knows that it's being edgy, it's not blind to that fact, and I like that. It uses it a lot to its advantage.
Okay.
A very dark,
Just send me the link and I'll look
world,
into it and
a
fix it.
representation of the quote-unquote underground and the lifestyle within it. Let me explain the story. This is about a place called Detroit, and Detroit is like a lawless zone. No police, no government officials, no nothing. It is like the hub capital center of the underground world.
You mean like right now? Like the actual Detroit? Sound like Detroit to me.
I'm talking mafia, I'm talking mobs, I'm talking gangsters, I'm talking the worst crimes that you could probably imagine, dealing, drug usage, etc, etc. If you can sell it, you can probably buy it. The story focuses on a child though, within this place called Detroit, and a central theme of this story is that children have it the worst, that this area and this life is filled with adults that do not care, that they will basically do whatever they want. They will get whatever they want, and children within here should fear adults. That's putting it lightly.
Why should you try Factor?
Factor makes it easy to stick to my fitness goals.
Eat a balanced.
We follow a child who can't be more than like 12 or 13 years old, and he is a hitman, an assassin, a trained killer. He's very good at what he does. His weapon of choice is a bunch of wires connected to his fingertips. It's brutal how he operates. No mercy, no feelings whatsoever. Isolated from the entire world, from people, just to be a cold-hearted killer. This kid, however, would eventually garner some feelings, and it doesn't take much. A singular woman that is blind. He becomes very infatuated with her. A lot of affection, it grows on her, and it grows on him. And this type of kindness really roots itself into this child, and he starts to change a little bit. He starts to privy up a bit of a purpose, a bit of a want, a bit of a need. Never had any of this before, but now he might want to change his ways a little bit. Obviously, still in the back of his mind, he needs to do what he does to survive. This world.
I'm sorry, these clips. I want to take it serious given the tone, but every time I watch Sufferance videos, it always gets me. Like it's so unserious. It's not even funny. Like when I'm trying to take him serious, it just takes me out of it, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like it keeps me watching.
I said I know, right? Rolling on the floor, laughing emoji.
Take it seriously.
Is not kind on children.
It's crazy.
Deep down, he wants to leave this world, or at least create a better place, not only for himself, but for this woman that he now has a newfound connection with. Unfortunately, it's not that simple, and there'll be a lot of massive, difficult, disgusting, brutal hurdles directly in front of this child called Snake, and he will have to fight, kill, destroy through thick and thin to hopefully get where he wants to go. If you end up reading this story, approach with just a little bit of caution. It's very heavy, it's unforgiving, it can be incredibly brutal, but very enjoyable. I have a lot of expectation for this story. I don't know how long it could be, but for me, it has a ton of value. Artistically, it's very beautiful as
Mike
well.
Cass
It's
said
a little
this
bit
man is an
different
actual
to
threat to society. Shows clip of kitten falling. Virus said I'm in the thick of it, everybody knows.
Every time.
what a typical or normal weekly, bi-weekly manga would look like. You'll most likely vibe with the aesthetic. It is worth your time. Do you know the author that does a story called Levius? If you do, I have great news for you because they have a brand new manga. It's called Nightlight Hounds. You might have seen this floating around here and there, but
That's a nice name. Nightlight Hounds. It kind of goes hard a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
if you haven't, there is a good reason. It only has 5 chapters, and yet very, very solid start. If you know the Levius author, if you know what they're capable of artistically, they have phenomenal artwork. Very beautiful, very crisp and clean and simple line work, but can get very, very complex quickly. Mixing strong line work with overly detailed designs, clashing those two things together, you get a beautiful, beautiful design portfolio of what they're capable of. And Nightlight Hounds follows pretty much the exact same pattern. So while the art piqued my interest first, what's keeping me around consistently is the story. And I'm very, very invested in where things go and what this is actually about. Because when you mix the idea of mobsters, think Sopranos, with werewolves and vampires and kind of supernatural creatures, gangsters, etc., already you have a compelling foundation to kick off from. And this author knows it. Nightlight Hounds takes place in a city that is ran by mobster vampires. They roll deep, big infrastructure, think Italian mafia, Sopranos, etc. The exact same structure. You can see this reflected in a lot of the visual flair, architecture, how it's designed. It's very timely, period PC, mixed with that supernatural element. So a lot of their infrastructure is tiered up towards very powerful vampires running these gang organizations. To compete with them, you also have rival vampire gangs, makes sense, but then you also have werewolves. And these werewolves, so far, aren't necessarily mobsters, but more like a policing force. There's a little bit more to what they are, which hasn't been revealed yet, but is heavily implied that what these werewolves are and how they operate is kind of like a direct response to vampires, a weapon that perhaps has been crafted to take them out. These werewolves aren't your typical turn into a wolf. Do not think of Twilight or even Vampire Diaries / originals. Think of these massive, horrifying, more magical orientated
I can't take this shit seriously. Bro, I'm trying with all my soul. I'm trying, but I keep looking at the screen and then I see this. Oh my god, bro.
Creatures that slightly resemble the visual representation of a werewolf. We follow a regular guy, not a vampire, not a werewolf, but he does work for the mob. He's an underling, like a peasant, and he doesn't know that the people that he works for are vampires until he gets caught in a kind of weird, sticky situation and almost gets killed. But a organization that has one of these werewolves actually saves him. So he becomes a rat, still working with this vampire mob while trying to uncover how they function. His purpose is to root out and find every active vampire in this mob without getting himself killed. And they're all incredibly sus. I am very excited to see where this story goes. Like I said, great foundation, a lot of intrigue for this story, and I am incredibly curious to see where we go.
Did you know that there are almost 1 billion ad blocker users worldwide? So
I don't care.
Virus said the clown following the guy face with tears of joy emoji face with tears of joy emoji.
I saved the best till last. Hands down, this has been one of my favorite stories to read in a very long time. I got early
Beanbag
Kingdom
said they're all
vibes for
incredibly
this story,
serious.
but then mixed with superpowers, and that sounds like a super odd combination. Like, how do you have medieval Chinese warfare with superpowers? This is called The Bugle Call, Song of War, and let me tell you, you will love this story. It only has 30 chapters so far, and if you start to read it, you probably won't be able to put it down. The potential here is through the roof. Like I said, big Kingdom vibes, the scale of warfare and its possibilities, but then it also has that pinch of superpowers. And I like the approach to these superpowers because they're more mystical and mysterious in nature. They're very interesting, the type of powers that they actually gain. Of course, you have your typical basic ones, but others very intriguing. Like the main character, for example, has an ability that you just wouldn't expect. Let me tell you about it. So the Bugle Call follows a boy called Lucas. Depending on translation, this is also known as Ryuka. But Lucas is what is known as a branch possessor, a Ramus, a Rami, depending on translation. He's a superpowered individual. He has a little tree branch growing out of his head. What do you think his ability is? Speed, strength,
said the
intelligence, maybe he can...
Hold on. She said the cat.
fly, maybe he can spawn things out of thin air. No, his ability is that he can play the bugle, it's like a trombone, like a trumpet, really, really well. You're probably laughing, but hear me out.
What the fuck?
See, Lucas loves music. He wants to be
Okay.
a musician, but he's just like a little peasant boy who gets
What the fuck?
picked up by a warring party, and he becomes their bugle caller. Basically, you sound the horn, let the army charge, sound the horn again, retreat. Whatever sound you make, the army is going to respond. But you see, Luca's ability allows him to actually spawn lights in the sky, someone that is using music to weave the battlefield of war. So he can make formations on the fly. He can pinpoint all of the enemy locations for hundreds, if not thousands, of singular individuals. They see this, they feel empowered, they feel motivated. They no longer care about the infliction or death that could occur, but more so they feel happy, strong.
So his ability is he has the power to inspire, like in RPGs. Like you know that one character inspire. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. That one support that has the ability to it's inspire. It gives you like what, 10 plus more damage.
Bro has charisma.
Charisma. It has inspire. What is it? Uplifting. Whatever points it is, it gives you extra more points to feel more inspired to put yourself at risk. I think in Marvel Rivals, Mantis has that ability where she can inspire. There's a button where it says inspire. I don't know if that heals or not, but I think that gives you extra damage or some shit.
Fighters win wars on the battlefield, but a conductor, a leading general, will conquer nations without stepping foot on the battlefield. That is the difference, and that is his power. The story is about two nations at war, and both of these nations have their own Ramus or Rami or superpowered people. Luca gets pulled in to this organization that is leading one side of the war. He is meant to lead them to victory, and he has two things that he has to accomplish. The first is to understand, befriend, and weaponize the other superpowered people
Ryu
on
the
his
samurai
team
said, "Oh, he's
as
a bard."
He's a what? Oh, he's bard. He's a
well
bard.
as the regular soldiers that he will conduct into war, but two, he has to kill someone called the Garland. The reason this person, the Garland, is a problem is because he has the ability to wipe continents off the map instantly. You probably think that isn't fair, but there is a big drawback to that ability. It takes a long time to recover from it. I did not know what I was getting into with this manga, but I could not put it down for the life of me. I thought I'd read a couple of chapters, ended up binging the whole story so far. And let me tell you, I had a blast. I don't think I've had that much fun in ages. So many beautiful characters, so many interesting ideas, the art of war, the simplicity of the main character having an ability that can conduct a battlefield using a trumpet or a bugle or whatever. Absolutely genius. But then seeing like the uniqueness of the powers is what really captured me as as well. There's this one girl in here which I won't spoil anything for, but heavily inspired, I would say, by Melania from Elden Ring. Visually, aesthetically, maybe even a pinch of personality. The ferociousness of that character just instantly reminded me of Melania. Even the way she fights, how she looks when she fights. I was like, yep, that's her. Been beaten by her many times. I love where this story is going. I love the mystery behind it. I love the whole idea of two nations at war trying to decimate each other using superpowered individuals who can overthrow who first. And yet, because of this underlying mystery of where the powers come from and how it operates and kind of the intricacies of it, you're unraveling a much bigger thread that just expands the world tenfold. 30 chapters deep, already super rich, super meaningful, and 110% worth all of your time. You won't regret it.
Virus asks feet.
Okay, so that was from Sufferance, the most insane new manga I've read. So that was an interesting recommendation given the funny videos that he posted. So with that said, like and try, share, follow, comment. I think this looks like it's gonna be something special. Hopefully we'll get an anime. It kind of the way it looks kind of reminds me of Dungeon and Delicious. Kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, so like, subscribe, share, follow, comment. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a new reaction channel, so we're going to post most of these videos over there. And all that great stuff. I'll even repost some of my old stuff that's anime related over there as well. So you might see a re-upload of something I've done in the past. Not the anti-woke stuff, because most of the stuff is kind of like based on news, and no one's gonna want to hear old news that happened months ago. Like I said, those videos, the anime videos, the recommendations, they will be re-uploaded over there. So hopefully I can do that. Let's hope. But if I can't, too bad. But it is what it is. I might even delete some of those videos as well, because I'm trying to keep them separate from each other and have them designated for whatever audience wants that to be. All right. So with that said, like, subscribe, share, comment. Oh, like, subscribe, share, and comment, can't talk. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Like.